So I've been doing a bunch of videos on the iPad mini, and a lot of you have been asking me in the comments, how does this thing hold up for gaming? Well, let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again. And if you're new here, I'm Patrick, and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So like I said in the introduction, I've been getting a lot of questions about gaming on the iPad mini, which makes a lot of sense to me because it does have that ideal form factor for handheld gaming. So when Apple announced this thing and showed us how powerful it actually is, I'm sure it made a lot of gamers' ears perk up. I mean, it has 4 gigs of RAM, which is decent. And combined with the A15 Bionic chip, the 6-core CPU, the 6-core GPU, and the 16-core neural engine, it can handle a lot. And while it might not be as crisp as the Liquid Retina XDR display on the M1 iPad Pro, the Liquid Retina display on the iPad mini looks pretty amazing, especially because it is a smaller tablet and it has a higher pixel density. I have to admit, I haven't been gaming too much in recent years. I used to game a lot, but then life happened, kids were made, companies were started, and apparently those things eat into your gaming time. But of course, I do anything for you guys, so I sacrificed myself and spent some time playing and listing the games I do enjoy, as well as testing some of the games you guys recommended to see how they hold up on the iPad mini. Now, some games are free, some aren't, and some are part of Apple Arcade, so please don't bite my head off if a game costs some money. Finding the best free games was not the purpose of this video. So let's have a look at 10 of the best games currently available on the iPad mini. Starting off with the most requested game to be tested on the iPad mini, and very possibly also the most power-hungry game, and that is of course Genshin Impact. Now, I've tested this game on the M1 iPad Pro before, and of course it runs like a charm on the Pro, but that machine is a beast, so that was to be expected. But I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised about how well this game runs on the iPad mini, and it actually reaches up to 50 FPS, which is pretty impressive for the iPad mini, and it actually outperforms the iPhone 13 Pro playing Genshin Impact. Could be because the mini has a bigger thermal envelope and therefore also better heat dissipation, I'm not sure. The game doesn't stutter or visibly lag. Everything looks smooth and very crisp on the mini's small screen. It's more than playable, so if you're a fan of the game and you're wondering whether the mini will do it justice, I think we can conclude that it definitely does, and that is pretty amazing. This next game can be placed in a similar category in terms of performance requirements, and that is Divinity Original Sin. I know many people thought this game wouldn't run on the iPad mini, but it actually holds up quite well. Strangely, the official description in the App Store says that this is a next-gen iPad game and it will not work on any device not listed below. The mini is not on that list, but as you can see, it works just fine. Maybe the description hasn't been updated, I don't know. Sure, it plays at a lower frame rate of approximately 30 FPS, but it is definitely more than playable. You will notice that the game has not been optimized for the mini, so there will be these small black bars on the side, but after a minute or so, you don't even notice them anymore. This is also one of those games where it really matters that the iPad mini has speakers on both sides. It really makes a difference to hear where the sounds are coming from. The storytelling in this game is fantastic, and so is the beautiful artwork. If you enjoy RPGs and you don't know this game, I definitely recommend checking it out. It does require 18 gigs of free space, and that is exactly why I never recommend anyone who's into gaming to get the 64 gigs base model iPad mini, because it simply won't be enough. Next up is Marvel Future Revolution, another visually stunning game running just fine on the iPad mini. But also for this game, make sure you have plenty of storage available, because even though the initial download is only 1.7 gigs, be prepared to shell out at least 5 more gigs of additional downloads. Future Revolution is Marvel's first open world action RPG for mobile devices, and it seriously looks like a AAA console game. And with the latest update, you can now also play as Magic, and Spider-Man got a fancy new costume. This next game is nothing like the previous ones. It is much smaller, kind of quirky game, which happens to be one of my personal favorites, and definitely the game that I've played the most since it came out on the iPad, and that is Grindstone. The game is described in the App Store as a puzzle battle splatterfest, and I couldn't describe it any better. That's exactly what it is. It is basically a classic match 3 puzzle game, but in this one you hack and slash your way through the lines of the puzzle. This game is best played laying on the couch, not with a gamepad, not by hand, but using the Apple Pencil, because all you have to do then to play the game is flick your wrist. There is something about this game, maybe it's the great looking graphics, the fantastic soundtrack, or the satisfying sound effects when slashing through your opponents, that makes this game highly addictive. you have been warned. Next up is a good old first-person shooter. We all know Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty, but this game I feel is really overlooked. Battle Prime has great graphics, smooth and fast gameplay, and it also seems there's fewer bots than in most other online shooters. It does allow controllers, both PlayStation and Xbox, however, it does not recognize my PlayStation DualSense controller. Hopefully this will change in a future update. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the channel and you do enjoy this type of content, a sub to the channel would be awesome. I upload every week, sometimes more, so plenty of fresh content coming your way. All right, this next game is also part of the Apple Arcade catalog, and that is SPYDER. This is definitely one of the better games Apple Arcade has to offer. It looks great and the gameplay feels super smooth. You are Agent 8, the most sophisticated miniature robot spider on Earth, and it is your mission to save the world. It might look like a kid's game at first, but the missions are not always easy. The game is packed with humor. It is definitely a spoof on the James Bond genre, especially the earlier movies. It has a very retro, futuristic vibe to it, with massive IBM-looking computers and control rooms as your surroundings. Definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a fun, low-threshold game. This next game is one that I've shown little snippets of in previous iPad videos, and a lot of you have been asking me what that game was, and that is Oceanhorn 2. This is another example of a very good-looking, smooth-running RPG game with a lot of hacking and slashing. It is full of really beautiful-looking open worlds and interesting characters. One thing I will say is that the developers have taken a lot of inspiration from the Zelda series, and by a lot, I mean a lot. But it doesn't matter because the result is an excellent, high-quality game that will keep you busy for many, many hours. The next game is another one I feel doesn't get enough credit, and that is Grid Autosport. Normally, when we talk about racing games for the iPad, it will be Need for Speed or Asphalt, but this game is at least just as good. The graphics are amazing, they look like a AAA game, and what makes this game interesting is that the cars handle very realistically. You will definitely notice a big difference when you switch between cars, and it's also very nice that you can set several difficulty levels, and with each level, the handling of the car becomes more realistic. Of course, we can't do an iPad games overview without at least mentioning the NBA series, one of the most popular games of Apple Arcade, and since it's a new year, we now have NBA 2K22 Arcade Edition. You can choose from all your favorite teams, you can play against friends in the multiplayer mode, and you can even play a game of 3 vs 3 in blacktop mode. This next game is a hidden gem in my opinion. I just love the artwork and the gameplay. It's a bit of an odd story. You're playing a cat named May Borowski who returns to her small hometown after dropping out of college to basically pick up her sad old life. But then she notices that nothing is the same and strange things are happening. The game feels oddly relaxing, it's funny, and I love how much of the elements inside a level are actually usable or playable. Alright guys, I know this was kind of uncharted territory for the channel, but if you enjoyed the video, please give it one of these so I know I can make more of them in the future. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.